Brace yourselves for a heart-pounding, jaw-dropping tale of courage, betrayal, and explosive retaliation that'll leave you speechless. In a world where bullies think they rule, one shocking act of violence against a black girl sparks a fiery rebellion led by an unlikely hero, a white girl who's had ENOUGH. This is School Bullies. Knock down a black girl 10 minutes later. A white girl fights back. Hit that subscribe button now and join our community of thrill seekers in the USA and UK to never miss a story this electrifying. Let's dive in. The sun hung low over Lincoln High School, casting long shadows across the cracked asphalt of the courtyard where students milled about like ants in a colony, each group buzzing with their own agendas. The air was thick with the scent of autumn leaves and teenage rebellion, a potent mix that clung to the brick walls of the school like a second skin. It was 3:15 p.m., the final bell still echoing in the minds of students who spilled out of classrooms, their laughter and shouts weaving a chaotic symphony. Among them was Amara Jackson, a 16-year-old black girl with a quiet strength that radiated from her deep brown eyes. Her braids were pulled back neatly, and her backpack slung over one shoulder. As she navigated the crowded courtyard, her head down, earbuds in, trying to block out the world she was used to keeping to herself. Lincoln High wasn't exactly a haven for kids like her. The school, nestled in a small, racially mixed town in Ohio, had a reputation for its cliques and unspoken hierarchies, and Amara had learned early on to stay out of the crosshairs of the Apex crew, a group of self-proclaimed rulers led by Brittany Kessler, a senior with a venomous tongue and a knack for making others feel small. Today, though Amara's usual invisibility failed her, Brittany, flanked by her loyal minions Chloe, a peroxide blonde cheerleader with a permanent smirk, and Jake, a linebacker with a laugh that sounded like a car backfiring, spotted her crossing the courtyard. Brittany's eyes narrowed, her glossy lips curling into a predatory grin. "Yo, Amara," she called out, her voice slicing through the noise like a knife. Amara's steps faltered, but she kept walking, her heart thudding against her ribcage. She knew that tone. It was the same one Brittany used right before she humiliated someone for sport. "Don't ignore me, girl," Brittany snapped, her heels clicking as she closed the distance, her crew trailing like hyenas. Amara pulled out one earbud, her jaw tight. "What do you want, Brittany?" she asked, her voice steady despite the knot in her stomach. Brittany laughed, a sharp, grating sound. "Oh, nothing much. Just wondering why you're always acting like you're better than us, walking around with that stuck-up vibe." The crowd around them slowed, sensing the brewing storm. Amara's eyes flicked to the onlookers, then back to Brittany. "I'm just trying to get home," she said, turning to leave. That's when it happened. Chloe, egged on by Brittany's nod, stepped forward and shoved Amara hard. The force caught her off guard, sending her stumbling backward. Her backpack slid off, hitting the ground with a thud, and before she could regain her balance, Jake's meaty hand pushed her again, this time with enough force to send her crashing to the asphalt. A collective gasp rippled through the crowd as Amara's palm scraped against the rough surface, blood welling up in thin lines. Her earbuds lay tangled beside her, blasting a faint hip-hop beat. Brittany towered over her, laughing. "Stay down, Amara. It's where you belong." The words stung worse than the fall, but Amara didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just stared up at Brittany, her eyes burning with a quiet fire that made Brittany's smirk falter for a split second. Then, with a toss of her hair, Brittany turned and strutted away, her crew following, leaving Amara to pick herself up as the crowd dispersed, some whispering, others pretending they hadn't seen a thing. But someone had seen it all. Across the courtyard, leaning against a tree with her arms crossed, was Ellie Harper, a 17-year-old white girl with a reputation for being a loner. Her dark blonde hair fell in messy waves over her leather jacket, and her green eyes tracked Brittany's every move like a hawk. Ellie wasn't part of any clique. She didn't care for the social games that ruled Lincoln High, but she had a past one that nobody talked about anymore. Not since she'd punched a guy in the face freshman year for harassing her best friend. That incident had earned her a week suspension and a permanent label as trouble. Ellie didn't mind. She'd rather be feared than pitied. And right now, watching Amara struggle to her feet, brushing dirt off her jeans, Ellie felt something ignite inside her, a spark of rage that had been smoldering for years, waiting for the right moment to explode. 10 minutes later, the courtyard was nearly empty. Save for a few stragglers, Amara had disappeared, likely to nurse her wounds in private, but Ellie was still there, her mind racing. She'd seen Brittany's cruelty before, petty insults, tripped freshmen, spilled lunches, but this was different. This was calculated, public, and vicious, and it wasn't just about Amara. It was about the Apex crew's reign of terror, about the way they strutted through the halls like they owned everyone in them. Ellie's fists clenched at her sides. She'd had enough. Enough of watching kids, like Amara, get crushed. Enough of staying silent. Enough of letting Brittany and her goons think they were untouchable. She pushed off the tree and started walking, her boots crunching against the gravel. Her destination clear, the old gym, where Brittany and her crew always hung out after school to hold court. The old gym was a relic, its paint peeling, and its bleachers creaking, but it was the Apex crew's unofficial throne room. Brittany sat on the top bleacher, her legs crossed, scrolling through her phone while Chloe and Jake lounged below, tossing a football back and forth. The air was thick with the smell of sweat and cheap perfume. Ellie pushed open the double doors with a bang, drawing every eye in the room. Brittany looked up, her smirk returning. "Well, look who it is. Ellie Harper, the school's resident badass. What do you want?" Ellie didn't answer right away. She stepped forward, her boots echoing in the cavernous space, her eyes locked on Brittany. "You think you're untouchable, don't you?" she said, her voice low but sharp enough to cut glass. Brittany laughed, tossing her phone aside. "Oh, please, don't tell me you're here to play hero for that nobody, Amara. What's it to you?" Ellie's jaw tightened. "It's not just about Amara, it's about you. You and your little gang, thinking you can push people around and get away with it. I'm done watching." The gym went silent, the football frozen in Jake's hands. Chloe's smirk faded, replaced by a flicker of unease. Brittany stood, her height giving her a momentary advantage as she glared down at Ellie. "You're out of your league, Harper. Walk away before you embarrass yourself." But Ellie didn't move. Instead, she stepped closer, her voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. "You're the one who's going to be embarrassed, Brittany. I'm giving you one chance to apologize to Amara right now." The words hung in the air like a lit fuse. Brittany's laugh was forced this time, her eyes, darting to her crew for backup. "Apologize to her? You're joking." Ellie wasn't joking. In a flash, she grabbed Brittany's wrist, twisting it just enough to make her yelp. The gym erupted into chaos. Jake lunged forward, but Ellie was faster, sidestepping and shoving him into the bleachers with a force that sent him sprawling. Chloe screamed, scrambling for her phone, but Ellie was already moving, her years of pent-up anger fueling every step. She didn't want to fight, not really, but she wasn't backing down either. Brittany yanked her wrist free, her face red with fury. "You're dead, Harper," she spat, swinging a wild punch. Ellie ducked, her reflexes sharp from years of dodging her own demons, and countered with a shove that sent Brittany stumbling back. The crowd that had gathered, kids who'd heard the commotion, gasped and whispered. Phones already out, recording every second. But this wasn't just about a fight. As Ellie stood her ground, something shifted in the air. The crowd wasn't cheering for Brittany anymore. They were watching Ellie, the girl who'd always stayed on the sidelines, now taking center stage. And then, from the back of the gym, a voice cut through the noise. "Enough." It was Amara, her braids slightly disheveled, a bandage on her palm, but her eyes blazing with the same fire Ellie had seen earlier. She stepped forward, her voice steady. "This isn't just about me, Brittany. It's about every kid you've ever pushed around, every name you've called, every lunch you've dumped, every life you've made miserable. You don't get to do that anymore." The gym was silent now, the weight of Amara's words settling over everyone. Brittany's face twisted, caught between rage and something else, fear maybe, or the realization that her throne was crumbling. Ellie stepped back, her fists still clenched but her point made. She hadn't thrown a punch, not really, but she'd done something far more dangerous. She'd challenged the status quo, and Amara, standing tall despite the blood on her palms, had finished it. The crowd began to murmur, then cheer, not for violence, but for the two girls who dared to stand up. Brittany's crew slunk back, their confidence shattered. Brittany herself stood frozen, her empire in ruins. But the story didn't end there. Word of the confrontation spread like wildfire through Lincoln High. By the next morning, whispers of Amara and Ellie were on every lip. The Apex crew's grip on the school loosened, their aura of invincibility gone. Amara and Ellie, unlikely allies, found themselves at the center of a quiet revolution. Kids who'd once cowered started speaking up. Teachers who'd turned a blind eye to Brittany's antics began paying attention, and Brittany, she was suspended after the videos surfaced. Her reign officially over. Yet the real twist came a week later, at the school's annual talent show. Amara, who'd always kept her poetry a secret, took the stage, her voice steady as she read a piece about resilience, about rising from the asphalt, about finding allies in unexpected places. Ellie sat in the front row, her leather jacket swapped for a simple hoodie, clapping louder than anyone. When Amara finished, the auditorium erupted, and for the first time, Amara felt seen not as a victim, but as a force. Backstage, Ellie found her, a rare smile breaking through her usual stoic mask. "You're tougher than I am," Ellie said, and Amara laughed, the sound bright and free. "Takes one to know one," she replied. The story of Amara and Ellie became legend at Lincoln High, a reminder that courage doesn't always look like a fistfight. Sometimes it's a quiet stand, a single step forward, a voice that refuses to be silenced. And for the kids who watched it unfold, it was a stark reminder that even in the darkest corners of a school courtyard, change was possible. Outro to be read with enthusiasm. Wow, what a ride. Did Amara and Ellie stand against the bullies give you chills? We hope this story lit a fire in you. If you loved this explosive tale, smash that like button and subscribe for more stories that'll keep you on the edge of your seat. And hey, drop a comment below, tell us which part of the USA or UK you're watching from, and what moment in this story hit you the hardest. Let's keep the conversation going.